My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to episode 20 of Transport Fever 2. This here is Brookston, and while I was ill with COVID, and I can say I'm now testing negative and feeling largely back to full health, still a few residual effects such as a bit of a stuffy nose, but other than that it's all good. Yes, but while I was ill and in no fit state to do any recording, I did continue on a little with Brookston. I've expanded the village and filled out some more of these spaces around these streets, the template that we put together in episode 19. What I've also done is, as I said I was going to do, I have the station now accessible on both sides of the rail line. So the rail line that we have here, you can see one of the trains just departing. In a sense, it splits Brookston in two straight down the middle, and we've got residences, shops and the likes on either side of the rail line, and I think it looks okay. In fact, if we just zoom out a little bit, we get a bit of have a little bit of an overlook at Brookston here. Looks quite busy, but I have managed quite successfully, I may say, to not repeat the mistakes of Barton in the Beans, where we had several hundred people wanting to use the service, which didn't quite make sense when we were trying to give the feel and effect of a small village. And in fact, if we open the user interface, we can see the numbers are much more manageable. Obviously, one of these trains has just left there during the introduction, but we can see here the one to Barton, to Herne Bay, it's far quieter than what we have going off up here, which is just ridiculous on every single level. So I'm pleased with how Brookston has turned out. We've even got a little church in Brookston, which is quite nice. It's obviously a staple in most English villages and the like, so it's nice to have one of those put in. What I've also done while I was ill is I set up a line from George Stephenson Station, and this line takes the machinery all the way up into Epping, and we now have a delivery line from Epping into the city itself. I didn't include that on camera because it was a relatively easy thing to do. It required very little in terms of new infrastructure. I believe all I had to do was expand this station here in Epping ever so slightly. So I didn't feel too guilty in doing that off camera and depriving you of seeing it done live, because it was, like I said, it was very straightforward. No new infrastructure or no major infrastructure changes were involved. It was just setting up the line, purchasing the loco, and of course just making sure we had the delivery line into Epping as well, which we now do. In terms of the train that we are running, I believe that might be it right there. Yes, it is. So if we just hop on board and we can turn around and have a look at this train, we can see we've gone for the A35 with just a reasonably small selection of boxcar carriages on the back, because Epping doesn't need a heck of a lot of machinery, so we don't want to overburden it or overdo it. Obviously we can expand or even reduce the size of this train in the future as demand dictates, but for now it seems to be doing okay. As you can see, we're not leaving with a full load yet. I might change that so it does wait till it gets a full load. But it's fine, it'll be okay, and I think this will be its first delivery. Yes, it will. So this is going to be the first delivery of machines up into Epping, and then hopefully that will boost the numbers somewhat and the train can then start picking up a full load. So what we're going to do now is restart the date progression, and we're going to get some of these machines over here into Axbridge, and this is going to be a bit of an infrastructure project. Simply, does that look like it's floating? No, just my eyes, I think. Yeah, we want to get the machines from George Stephenson Station over here. Now we could just go all the way up the eastern corridor, take this link line here and then come back down on ourselves and then head back again and that way, but it seems a bit overly long and a bit unnecessarily long. So what I'm thinking instead is if we have a line that branches here, merges into here, we'll expand the size of this station and have two lines that pass through in either direction. We'll follow the coastline of the river past all of this, past this, and then swing up here and connect in somewhere around this tunnel. And I think that should be okay, and it's going to be a lot more direct than making the train run all the way up to Epping and then heading back down. So if that's what we're going to achieve, then let's make a start. As I said, I think it's the best option and the most reasonable option. So let's see where our junction work starts and ends over here. So we can see a switch here, and in fact we can see the switch in action as the food freight train heads back down to the factory. So if we get a line that immediately separates after that switch, and this is going to have to be quite slow, simply because we don't have a great deal of room here to work with. As we can see, we're quite close to the edge of the river. And then we have this make its way down, and we probably will have to use a bridge here. And what's the gradient now? That is very, very excessive. We probably want to come down at a more gentle gradient than that, maybe 3%. Yeah, I think 3% is going to be fine. And in terms of the bridge style, we do want to use... No, we probably don't want to use a stone bridge, actually. What about this style? Oh, that's just... Well, no, the embankment's going to make the river edge go very, very strange, so let's not do that. Let's go for... Oh, that's quite nice. I quite like that. And I think I might even take some more slope off of that. Maybe get it to 2% or near enough. 2.1 is fine. But is that floating? I think it is. Do we need to put some buttress on there? Let's just have a look. What options do we have? Or is that supposed to be like that? Is that actually in contact with... No, it's not in contact with the ground. Okay, let's abandon that idea. What about something like this? That's quite nice. I think I can go with that. It seems reasonable enough. The fence is a bit jagged along the edge, but it's... I don't think it's too bad, is it? Let's have a look. No, that's not too bad. It's not perfect, but it's not hideous. So yes, if we do something like this then. And which way are we headed? Well, we want to connect in here, don't we? So let's... Can we bring it down? Ah, yes, we can keep the same gradient as well, which is fantastic. So it's a nice, gentle-ish, relatively gentle, 2% gradient the entire way. And the bridge doesn't look too bad, I don't think. Yeah, I might rethink that, but I think for now it's going to be okay. And then what we're going to have to do here is just a bit of reworking on this line. Let's just pause it while we rework this little bit of track right here. Now, we don't need to use the station tracks for this. We can just use default or vanilla or usual, whatever you want to call them, track lane functionality to get the pass-through tracks on this. But it is wanting to... Is that level? You need to come down a bit. I'm just looking at this lip here and trying to get it pretty much at the same height as this one, and I think that is okay. So let's double that up like so. And what we're going to need is... Let's just think about this. So our train is coming onto this platform to load. So we certainly need something like that to get it back over as it's departing. And if we bring that in... We get 40 miles an hour. I don't think we'll get much better than that. But if we bring that in like that... And where's the switch? It's about there, isn't it? And have that do the same like that. And then can we get you to go straight into there? And if we do, what's the overlap like? That's a little bit rubbish. Just tweak that just a touch here. That, I think, is better. Yeah, that's okay. It might not be perfect, but it's certainly a lot better. And then we do this, like that. So our trains will come down here, take this bit here and go straight on through. And as they come up this way, they're going to come up here, and then straight on through here. I don't think we're any need for a double slip switch there. I can't see why we would need that. That should work okay. And just double check this overlap. Yeah, that looks pretty smooth to me. Okay, so we'll have to do some signaling work on that little stretch there, but we can deal with that a little bit later. For now, what we want to do is to get this line to come all the way along the edge of the river. We can restart the game. So all the way down along the edge of the river, and then to get up into here, and hopefully we can do that and keep it looking reasonably tidy. But that remains to be seen, because we are going to be very low along the edge of the river here. And I'm going to say that, well, I do know for a fact that this line is a little bit elevated. So that last little stretch, we may have to take our time and see about maybe climbing up a little bit in advance. So we're coming to what will become a level crossing here, and I'm going to keep it as a level crossing. So what I'm going to do to tackle this is, like we did in Brookston, just have a flat section of land either side of the road that is ideally the same height as the road. No, that's not quite the same height. Let's demolish that. Now let's flatten that out again using the height tool rather than the smooth tool. Now if we bring that road back in and reconnect it like that, so it's still dipping down. Can we? No, we can't even do anything with that via this Z and X keys there. Okay. Well, in that case then, we might just have to rework that bridge. And if we're going to rework the bridge, we may as well just have the road go over the top of the rail line rather than having a level crossing. So let's reconnect that, and let's give ourselves a bridge over the river for the road. Right, so if we go like that and keep it arrow level, the bridge style doesn't matter, but I don't like that one. What about that one? Yeah, I quite like that. So if we do that and then have this fella connecting down there. Now we want it to be over the top of the rail line here. Oh, maybe we can go with a level crossing at this point. Whoops. There, that's now perfectly level, although it is quite a ways above the height of the train line, which is a little bit awkward. Okay, then let's rethink that. Let's demolish that bridge and start all this again. I want to get this right. So if we just draw our bridge from this side of the train line, then we know we're going to be over the top. And I think that's the mistake I made there. I didn't start on the side of the rail line. So let's go again. Straight over. How's that in terms of clear? Oh, that'll be plenty tall enough, especially if we flatten this bit off here that we raised up a few moments ago. And bridge style, let's just have a little look at the rest of them actually, just while we're here, see if there's anything that takes off. Oh, I quite like that. Yeah, we'll have that. So you do that, and then you probably want to go back a little bit, and then you come down to there. Not that. Just want to get that a little bit smoother there. Move. Yeah, that's... no, because it's all floating there. We don't want that. We don't want it floating. So let's try that again. But instead we'll have you as earthworks, and that's fine. And we can just use the terraforming tools to deal with this monstrosity here. And, oh, this is going to be steep. that's gonna, yeah, it's gonna be very steep. Let's just take the edge off of that, and again, go with earthworks. Now with the roads, it doesn't matter if they're overly steep, because we're not going to have anything running down here, I shouldn't think. How's that look? Well, it's going to do what we need to do, so we can live with it. Right, now what we need to do then is to smooth off that mess we made right here. And are we going to be able to fit underneath there? Well, what we could do is flatten the terrain down. Like so. Now, let's see. Will you get underneath nicely? Yes, you will. Just about. Just about. It's got a bit of a gradient climb there. It's got 2.5% gradient. I wish I'd noticed that. Let's do that little bit again. And this time, let's make sure we keep this fella straight just while we're clearing this bridge. So no gradient changes here. We're comfortably underneath the road bridge. I might rework this bit somehow, but I'll do that off camera if I am going to do it. It's going to at least work in terms of functionality for now, which is the main thing. Okay, so now we can deal with the rest of our journey, which is to head, I think it's roughly towards, yeah, towards the edge of these trees here. That's where we want to be steering our train line towards. That's because it snapped that road there. That's what happened there. Okay, so we want to come, well, we want to come this way because we then want to kick out to get up here. In fact, we probably want to come in a little bit. In fact, no, not too much, because we have to contend with a level crossing in a moment, and we want to make sure we make it nice and tidy. But that looks okay. Nice journey along the river. And if we can now get this bit here nice and flat with the terraforming tool. That's the wrong one. Like that. That should give us a decent level crossing. Does that look okay? I think it does. And you, like this. Keep you level, actually. How's that look? Yeah, it doesn't seem to bump up and down or anything, so I think we're going to be okay. Let's just use a UK style level crossing for this, like that. There we go. Okay, where are we then? So we can see the mouth of the tunnel, so we want to connect in just after that tunnel, I think. So I think what the best approach to do is to actually get the junction off of this main line here. Not that. That. Right, so this is going to invariably be a very, very slow corner, just because of the constraints in terms of real estate that we have. We also want to make sure we're not doing 7.5% gradient changes here. If we could get to 3%, or near as damn it 3%, and overlap, I think that might be okay. But there is only one way to find out, and that is to put in the second stretch of track. Let's see. It's probably borderline. Oh no, it's actually quite nice. A little bit down on this side here, but I think we can live with that. So now let's come from this direction and connect in. Ooh, is that bridge missing a chunk? No, it's just not rendering there, but that's okay. Yeah, we'll come from this direction, heading over to, it's about there, isn't it, we want to be headed to. Let's again make sure we come down a bit more of a reasonable gradient. Let's take it off to 2.5% now. And what's happening here? Why have you decided to do that? That's... what's happening there? I'm not quite sure what happened there. Let's just try that again. That was a bit odd, wasn't it? Are you doing the right thing now? I think you... oh no, you're You actually classed a separate track there, and you can tell that because we've not got that catenary that arches over the entire track. How utterly bizarre is that? Is that an artifact of this junction, do we think? I'm not quite sure. Am I going insane here? Anyway, it looks level to the eye. Yeah, it's parallel to the eye, which is the main thing. Let's just get on with it. Let's not worry about it too much. Right, so if we come direct in, how's that? I think that might be a little better. Yeah. Will that be okay? It's hard to see with all the gubbins in the way there. Yes, I think that's going to be okay. Right, so let's bring out his buddy like this. Yes, maybe I have gone mad, but I thought, oh, is it when it's triple tracked you have the... Yeah, okay, there we go. No, I had gone a little bit bit mad there and forgotten how Transport Fever 2 works. It's properly parallel, that's all fine. So anyway, yeah, there we go. That's that. These signals are going to have to be relocated because we have a lot of junction work here. And what we'll do is we'll start our signal work from here because we're here now. Let's have ourselves this signal. This has obviously got to be one way. We'll have this fellow set back here. And where's the next signal? It's on the bridge. We probably want one a little bit shorter than the bridge just to clear the switch. And this one will have it pushed right up to the junction. That should give the trains coming up and down the main line priority. And if we put a signal to clear the junction there, and I dare say we could get away with one there as well. And then along this stretch of track, we'll just use these two aspect signals here. We don't need 100 of these because we're not going to have too many trains running from Stevenson Station to Axbridge. So we can afford to keep these reasonably well spaced and give ourselves quite long blocks, or yeah, quite long blocks. So let's do just that. So this is all going to be one way through this station here. Do we want to give that? Do we want to link this up just for completion's sake? Maybe later. And here we go. Now we're approaching the next junction. So let's have a signal. In fact, let's just change that to a different style of signal for this junction. Let's have ourselves... Ooh, let's go for a 4 aspect for no good reason other than I want to. Let's have a 4 aspect there, protecting the junction here. You will have one here, but be 2-way. And let's drop you to a 3. Because obviously our train as it leaves will be coming this way, but we want it 2-way because we have trains coming down this stretch of track as well. And I don't think that should cause conflict because this one will clear down here. And you can go back and we'll have a 2 aspect here. About there. And this will be 1 way. So let's give ourselves 1 there. I mean, we only have 1 train coming into this station, so a lot of this is... It's not unnecessary, but it's not necessarily crucial, shall we say. Let's then go for a 3 aspect there. A 4 aspect there. And some 2 aspects just from here through to Axbridge. We'll have 1 there. We'll have 1 more block just by these catenary masts here. We'll push this one back to there. with a view to providing these trains priority over these trains. And then you're going to come in here, you're going to come blah blah blah, and this is where we need to play it carefully, because we have a line or a service that comes into here. And are you loading or unloading? You're unloading, aren't you? You're bringing in food. And there's only one of you. And even if there was going to be two of you, because you're unloading, you shouldn't spend an inordinate amount of time at platform. So you shouldn't lock anything in. So therefore, I think we can get away with just expanding to a new platform at this station. Where are the platforms? There, where it says platforms. What do we have here? The Sora Tusha. It looks like a bus to me. We'll take a look at that once we've messed up this station by putting platforms all over the shop. Yeah, we'll have a look once we've got this infrastructure work done and messed it up for a second time. Anyway, yep, so you'll drop off on this platform, because even if we were to have multi-trains running in the food or running in with the machinery, we don't necessarily need to stable them away from one another. But what we probably want to do is have a bit of a runoff for each of them, even if it's a single track runoff, like that. That way we but if no, we'll just go with that and just have the single train. If we do decide we're going to have multiple trains, then we're going to have to rework all of this, because we don't want the food trains waiting back here and blocking the main line. However, that is not a concern right now, because it's not something that's going to happen right now. And replace the Scotsman with the Mallard. Is it the A1? I think. I can't, off the top of my head, I cannot remember. But yes, I want to include the Mallards. So we'll do that. Now, the reason I'm doing this, and yes, I know it's completely over the top for what this line is. However, we can then leave at least one of these trains on one of these lines running the Flying Scotsman for eternity. And as someone suggested in one of the comments, it'll become a bit of a museum line for us. So that's my logic behind that. So yeah, I know it's far too much locomotive for what we're doing with it, but I want to keep it on there. So now we can go to our main line, the Lord Nelson and the QE2, and replace these with the A4, not the A1, the A4. And if we have a look here, I think these are faster. Yep, they are. They get up to speed a little bit faster. And again, we'll not change the colour scheme on these. We'll leave them in their default colours, because they are quite iconic trains, and having them in their default colours is quite nice. And there goes one of them right now. They do look very, very sleek indeed. Arguably, and I know this is subjective, but arguably perhaps not as famous as the Flying Scotsman, although I do think they still hold the land speed record. Well, the speed record for a steam engine, I think. I might be wrong in that, and obviously do correct me if I am wrong, but I knew, at least for a time, they were the fastest train in operation, and I think that was probably globally. But again, do correct me in the comments down below if I am mistaken in that belief. So that's where we'll end it for today then, ladies and gentlemen. That's quite enough of that for today. Where is our train? Let's see. Our new train, I should point out. Which route are you taking? It's not you. It's not you, because I know that you're... No, it's not you. Yes, you must have come this way up. And I'm hoping... Oh, no, is that you there? Oh, that's quite fortuitous timing. We'll have a ride along our new line over to George Stephenson for the outro. So I'll just hop on board. In fact, first of all, I'll pause the date progression so there's no unlocks in the background, and then I'll hop on board. Okay, there we go. We are now on board and just departing from the Axbridge Freight Exchange. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I apologise for the the gap in video production, but obviously with COVID and all the effects that has on you, it can be quite difficult to record a video, especially because my voice was just all over the place. Regardless, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. It is good to be back up and running and recording once again, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to our normal schedule probably next week, which will be week commencing, let's just check the date on my calendar here, that'll be week commencing the 23rd of January, so back to normal from the 23rd, hopefully, in terms of the video release days. So if you have enjoyed the episode, then please consider hitting that like button down below. It really does help, and obviously subscribe to the channel as well to stay up to date with new releases as and when they are released. For now though, ladies and gentlemen, I apologise for the little gap there in what I was saying. I had a bit of a coughing fit. Yeah, for now, ladies and gentlemen, all that remains for me to say is, as always, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.